I'm Liyana Hassanel, and this is Nightline. The top stories. Bills on AG public prosecutor separation and PM term limit to be tabled on Monday. And flood situation in Sabah worsens. More than 2,000 residents affected. Good morning. On Monday, the government will table a proposed bill to split the powers of the Attorney General and the Public Prosecutor, a move aimed at strengthening transparency and fairness in the country's legal system. Also set to be tabled the same day is a bill to limit the Prime Minister's tenure to 2 terms, described as one of the key initiatives under the nation's institutional reform agenda. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim stressed that the proposed term limit, once passed by Parliament, would also apply to himself.
Daripada saya lah, maknanya jangan saya buat undang-undang untuk orang lain. Undang-undang itu mesti terpakai untuk saya dulu.
Anwar explained that a decade is sufficient for a leader to serve the country before handing over the reins to new leadership.
Dalam mesyuarat saya cadangkan supaya kita dapat segerakan tempoh jawatan Perdana Menteri itu cukup 10 tahun. Kerana saya ingat sesiapa yang mahu berkhidmat dengan ikhlas kepada negara, 10 tahun itu cukuplah, memadai untuk dia lakukan sebaiknya. Dan selepas itu sepatutnya disedia untuk melepaskan untuk rakan-rakan yang lain meneruskan khidmat.
He added that should the bill receive consensus in Parliament and the backing of the majority of members, it would be implemented immediately. Meanwhile, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Othman Said, said Anwar Ibrahim will lead the second reading of the bill to limit the Prime Minister's tenure on March 3rd. Azalina will move the second reading of the bill on the separation of the roles of the Attorney General and the Public Prosecutor on March 2nd. A special briefing for members of Parliament on the 2 bills is scheduled for next Monday. The 2 bills are part of the government's institutional reform measures for this year's parliamentary session. In other news, Anwar said any corruption claims, including those involving former Economy Minister Datuk Sri Rafizi Ramli, must be investigated in a transparent and open manner. The Prime Minister urged all parties to stop making baseless accusations to prevent slander.
Jangan kita hukum. Jadi sekarang ni kita dengar, bagi ruang untuk siasat, jangan ada tuduh-menuduh dalam Ramadan Karim ini. Kullu aam wa antum bi khair. Jadi kita buat sebaiknya, kalau ada tuduhan, kita siasat dengan baik. Kalau ada bukti bersalah, dakwa. Tetapi jangan kita hebahkan, arti kata atau menghukum sebelumnya. Ini masalah dalam negara kita. Dengar je orang tuduh terus melompat, kecam. Belum tahu. Nanti fitnah.
Anwar added that any allegations, including those against the government, are taken seriously and investigated through the proper legal process.
Sebab itu saya terima baik apa-apa dakwaan. Ya, sama ada kepada kerajaan, kepada saya. Kalau ada dakwaan, ada bukti, kita siasat dengan telus. Baru negara ini agak teratur. Tapi bulan Ramadan ni kita patut fokus dalam soal ibadat, bermaafan, silaturahim.
Previously, Rafizi had denied any involvement in a 2.5 billion ringgit corruption case concerning the award of a contract to an international semiconductor chip company, said to be linked to him. Later in the evening, Anwar held talks with his Singaporean counterpart Lawrence Wong on Friday, in conjunction with Wong's special visit to Malaysia. The meeting took place at Srinagar, where Anwar also hosted a dinner in honor of Wong's visit. In a Facebook post, the Prime Minister described the meeting as meaningful, noting that it took place at a historic residence that has witnessed key moments in the nation's past. The 2 leaders spent nearly 3 hours together, during which they toured Srinagar and were briefed on its history and conservation efforts under the Kuala Lumpur Heritage Initiative. Wong then joined Anwar for the breaking of fast before continuing with a private dinner discussion, focusing on strengthening Malaysia-Singapore relations and advancing cooperation in resolving outstanding bilateral issues. Anwar said he greatly appreciated Wong's visit, describing it as a reflection of the close friendship between the 2 countries. The flood situation in Sabah has worsened, affecting more than 2,000 residents as flood waters continue to rise in several districts. The situation follows persistent, heavy rain since Thursday night, which caused several rivers to overflow. These scenes were captured as authorities carried out rescue operations to evacuate residents who had been stranded by the floods. Disaster declarations for affected areas were issued by the respective district offices at 6 a.m. on Friday. According to the Info Bencana JKM website, as of Friday night, more than 2,000 victims have been evacuated to 14 temporary relief centers across 2 districts. Pitas recorded the highest number of evacuees, with more than 1,100 people sheltered at 10 relief centers, while over 1,000 people are currently housed at 4 relief centers in Kota Marudu. Meanwhile, 19 schools across several districts in Sabah were reported to be affected by the rising waters, including in Baluran, Pitas, and Sandakan. State Education Director Datuk Raisin Saidin said 2 schools in Pitas had been almost completely submerged by flood waters. He added that the floods had also cut off main access routes to several schools, disrupting travel for both students and teachers. He noted that the situation had not affected school attendance as students were currently on break and expressed hope that the situation would improve before classes resume next Monday. Meanwhile, the Sabah state government has mobilized all security agencies and relevant departments to carry out evacuation and rescue operations, as well as deliver aid to residents impacted by the floods. Chief Minister Datuk Sri Haji G. Noor urged affected residents to comply with instructions from authorities and to prioritize the safety of their families. In a statement posted on his Facebook page, he also called on the public not to take unnecessary risks as flood conditions continue. According to the Chief Minister, the Sabah government is closely monitoring the situation to ensure assistance reaches those in need quickly and effectively. He expressed his sympathy to residents impacted by the floods, describing the situation as a severe test, particularly for Muslims observing the fasting month. He stressed that the safety and well-being of the people remain the state government's top priority. A soldier attending a course at a military camp in Kuantan has died after collapsing earlier this week. The 22-year-old, identified as Trooper K. Indiran, passed away at the Tengku Ampuan Afzan Hospital on Thursday afternoon, with police classifying the case as sudden death. Indiran was found unconscious at the 10th Mile Army Camp on Wednesday and was rushed to hospital for treatment. He died at 4 p.m. on Thursday. His remains were released to his family at around 3 p.m. on Friday, after a post-mortem examination was completed at the hospital's forensic department. Indiran was the son of the late Major C. Kayambu, a former Royal Malaysian Air Force pilot who was killed in a 2016 plane crash at the Butterworth Air Base in Pulau Pinang. Pahang Police Chief Datuk Sri Yahya Othman said the post-mortem found no signs of physical injury or damage to internal organs. The cause of death has yet to be determined, and police are awaiting the results of a chemical analysis. For now, the case remains classified as sudden death. Meanwhile, Indiran's mother, S. Usha, said the family hopes the actual cause of her son's death will be known soon. She said her son appeared healthy and in good spirits just a day before the incident.
Chinese New Year, video call dengan family member, everything. He was very happy. Dengan semua members dia sembang, video call, mama dia tengah buat BBQ. Dia tunjuklah BBQ dan bilik yang dia ni dekat sini buat BBQ, something like that.
The late trooper's remains will be brought back to Pulau Pinang and laid to rest at the Batu Lancang Hindu burial ground in Air Itam, where his father's remains are also interred. An attempt to smuggle more than 37 tons of electronic waste, or e-waste, into the country has been thwarted following enforcement action at Westport, Port Klang. Investigations found the syndicate involved had falsified cargo declarations in the customs system, a tactic used to avoid detection of prohibited materials. The illegal shipment was uncovered after officers from the Malaysian Border Control and Protection Agency detained 2 shipping containers during an inspection at the port earlier on Friday. AKPS Port Klang Commander Datuk Nik Izani Muhammad Faisal said the items were declared as plastic materials and industrial machinery, but physical inspections revealed otherwise. The 2 containers, which arrived in December and February, were found to be carrying electronic waste, such as remote controls, credit card machines, and computer components. The shipping containers have been moved to a secured area while authorities await instructions from the Selangor Department of Environment and are expected to be returned to their country of origin. Malaysia's total trade in January surged 12.6% to 272.4 billion ringgit, marking the highest level recorded since 1990. The performance was driven by robust growth in exports and imports, alongside a sharp expansion in the trade surplus. According to the Malaysia External Trade Development Corp, or MATRADE, exports surged to 146.9 billion ringgit, extending positive growth to 7 straight months since July 2025, while imports rose to 125.5 billion ringgit. The trade surplus also widened significantly, jumping 483.9% to 21.4 billion ringgit, marking the 69th consecutive month of surplus since May 2020. Malaysia's main export destinations were ASEAN, the United States, China, the European Union, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, accounting for nearly 70% of total exports. Electrical and electronic products remained the largest export contributor, making up 48% or more than 70 billion ringgit. The Budi Madani RON 95 petrol subsidy has helped ease the public's cost of travel burden. This is evident with transport inflation falling to negative 0.7% in January, compared with 0.1% in December. According to Maybank Investment Bank, this milestone is driven by the decline in global crude oil prices, as well as the impact of the subsidy program. The initiative has helped to ease local consumers' travel expenses and contributed to the drop in the transport component of the Consumer Price Index. The country's core inflation remained stable at 1.6% last month. Maybank Investment Bank expects average inflation for 2026 to be around 1.8%, supported by a stronger ringgit that will help to contain the cost of imported goods.
Visit Malaysia 2026. Ambition, strategy, and global competition. How is Malaysia positioning itself in a fast-changing travel landscape? Trends, opportunities, and what it takes to win. Zahir Kelvin Ong Abdullah speaks with tourism industry leader Datuk Tan Kok Liang. Only on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
President Donald Trump's administration and the Indonesian government have finalized an agreement to lower U.S. tariffs on Indonesia to 19% from 32%. Under the deal, Jakarta will cut trade barriers on more than 99% of U.S. imports and facilitate more than $30 billion of purchases of American goods. Indonesia has also secured tariff exemptions for more than 1,700 goods, including coffee, spices, chocolate, natural rubber, and notably its top export product, palm oil. It comes in exchange for Indonesia opening up its markets to American products, such as by accepting U.S. standards on car safety, emissions, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. The agreement follows a visit to Washington by Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto to attend the first meeting of the Trump-led Board of Peace to discuss the reconstruction of Gaza. Tegamat blast, police tracking down firework seller. More news from the home front after this breather.
Istimewa di Hari Raya melengkapkan detik santapan bersama keluarga, keanggunan raya, penyeri hidangan, Lenona bersama Wow Shop.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
So Abi ambil kunyit. Okay, just letak sikit serbuk kunyit tu. Nak jadi dah ni, nak jadi dah ni.
You excited lebih
ya, mestilah nak jadi. Banyak pula you punya resepi-resepi you yang tersimpan. Kacang tak ada lagi dalam kita punya menu.
Kita bagi
so kali ni kita buat special, kita bubuh kacang.
Jangan lupa saksikan Jom Berbuka
Setiap hari Sabtu jam 7.30 malam hanya di TV3 dan stream juga
di Tonton.
Mami, cepatlah. Mami nak masak apa pula ni, Mami?
Ya Allah, sabar. Tunggu Datuk ambil barang sat.
Tapi penting kena tengok tangan supaya tak luka.
Tapi tengok angka tak tengok pun. Potong jari kurang sikitlah hantaran. Hoi. Mak hang baru dah nak top 93,000.
Bakal pak motor ada standby sini dah.
Saya pasal nak try.
Cuba.
Welcome back. The Kuala Lumpur Magistrates Court has ordered a man accused of murdering a homeless woman to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. Said Faisal Said Alwi, aged 46, is alleged to have committed the offence at a shop on Jalan Sentul in the federal capital on February 9th. The charge is framed under Section 302 of the Penal Code, which provides for the death penalty or imprisonment of a minimum of 30 years, along with at least 12 strokes of the cane upon conviction. The court was informed that the victim's post-mortem report had yet to be obtained. Magistrate Farah Nabiha Muhammad fixed March 19th for the next case mention. On February 10th, Sentul District Police Chief ACP Ahmad Sukarno Muhammad Zahari said the suspect was arrested following the discovery of the victim's body. The woman, believed to be in her 50s, was found with severe head injuries. In Pulau Pinang, a lorry driver who was recently charged with assaulting a policeman with a golf club on February 11th faced another charge on Friday. This time he was accused of allegedly stealing a mobile phone. 30-year-old Zulma Zuwan Zulhilman Suresh Kumar claimed trial to the charge after it was read to him before Magistrate Aini Adillah Muhammad Faisal at the Butterworth Magistrates Court. Zulma Zuwan, who reportedly has a prior criminal record with over 20 offences, is accused of stealing a mobile phone belonging to a foreign national at an eatery on Jalan Sungai Nior, North Seberang Perai at 12:30 a.m. on February 15th. The charge, framed under Section 380 of the Penal Code, carries a maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment and a fine. The court set bail at 3,000 ringgit with one surety and fixed April 7th for mention and document submission. Johor police are currently tracking down the person responsible for selling firecrackers to a man whose left foot was severed in an explosion on Tuesday. State Police Chief Dato' Abi Rahman Arsat said the firecrackers used by the victim were illegal and not among the items approved for sale.
Dengan erti kata lain, ianya dibeli secara tidak sah atau dibakar secara tidak sah dan juga dimiliki secara tidak sah. Kalau terkesan, kita akan batalkan lesen mereka yang menjual bunga api atau mercun yang tidak dalam senarai yang diluluskan.
He also revealed that the 32-year-old victim is in stable condition and currently receiving treatment. During the 12:30 a.m. incident, the victim had reportedly set off several firecrackers in front of his house in Taman Damai Jaya, Bukit Siput, Segamat to celebrate Chinese New Year. The firecrackers, which were placed upright, suddenly toppled and discharged several shots towards him. Labor strike shuts Buenos Aires. The details when Nightline returns.
Gini baru nak gosok baju, malam tadi tak sempat. Yang seorang ni, macam biasalah kan, mudi. El akan hantar nak pergi sekolah. Lepas tu El akan datang this area untuk minum kopi.
So, you buat video tak? Rekod tak ada?
Alah, tak ada.
Kita dalam pickleball ni, kena healthy kan kat anda kan?
Saya dah lah bangun paling awal. Takkan saya paling last kali tidur?
Nak tahu kehidupan El dan family? Jangan lupa saksikan Oh Mami di TV3 setiap Sabtu 7 malam dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Susah nak terima kalau kata diorang pergi dulu. Kalau boleh biarlah kami pergi dulu, tak apa kan. Tapi kalau boleh panjangkan usia kami ni, yang mak ayah ni untuk menjaga diorang ni sampai orang kata sampai bila-bila diorang boleh lah. Aina, ayah sayang sangat-sangat dengan Aina. Kami kat air pun ayah sayang sangat-sangat. Kalau boleh janganlah orang kata kalau boleh Aina ni sihatlah macam mana pun kata.
The foreign front. U.S. President Donald Trump told the inaugural meeting of his peace board that 9 members countries have pledged a total of $7 billion to a reconstruction fund for the Gaza Strip. 5 nations have also agreed to deploy troops to an international stabilization force for the Palestinian territory. Addressing the board in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, Trump said the U.S. would contribute $10 billion to the Board of Peace, but did not specify how the funds would be used. He added that Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, the United Arab Emirates, Morocco, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, and Kuwait have provided an initial down payment for Gaza's reconstruction. The pledged funds account for only a small portion of the estimated $70 billion required to rebuild the Palestinian territory after more than 2 years of Israel's devastating war. A strike has grounded much of Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires, to a halt as businesses close and demonstrators take to the streets to protest against President Javier Milei's proposed labor reforms. Thursday's 24-hour general strike was the 4th of Milei's term as president. One of Argentina's biggest unions, the General Confederation of Labor, called on citizens to protest the labor reform across the streets, Congress, courts, and workplaces. The protest led to subway closures in Buenos Aires, reduced bus services, and Aerolíneas Argentinas planning to cancel 255 flights. Banks and schools also closed in solidarity with the strike. Milei, a libertarian, campaigned to cut regulations he said stifled Argentina's economy, famously using a chainsaw at rallies. His right-wing party, La Libertad Avanza, has proposed labor reforms critics say would harm worker rights, reduce jobs, and lower living standards. The reforms would also extend the standard workday from 8 to 12 hours and limit the right to strike by broadening the definition of essential work. British police searched the former mansion of King Charles's younger brother, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, on Friday, following global media coverage of a photograph showing the former royal leaving a police station. Officers raided his current home on the private Sandringham estate belonging to his brother, King Charles III, and his previous residence in Windsor, west of London. The 66-year-old was arrested Thursday on suspicion of misconduct in public office over claims he sent confidential government documents to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein while serving as a trade envoy. The former prince was released under investigation after being held by police for more than 10 hours and has not been charged. Mountbatten Windsor had previously denied any wrongdoing in connection with Epstein. Hollywood is grappling with a double loss, mourning the deaths of two actors who left their mark on film and television. Eric Dane, celebrated for his role in Grey's Anatomy, and Peter Green, known for his unforgettable performances in films such as Pulp Fiction, died a week apart. In a statement on Thursday, Dane's family said the actor had died at age 53, less than a year after publicly disclosing his diagnosis of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. He starred as family patriarch Carl Jacobs on the hit Euphoria and was previously best known for playing Dr. Mark Sloan, or Dr. McSteamy, on the medical drama Grey's Anatomy. In a separate loss for Hollywood, Green, known for his roles in Pulp Fiction and The Mask, was found dead in his Manhattan apartment from an accidental gunshot wound. A neighbor discovered Green in his ground floor Lower East Side apartment on December 12th, following several days of reports of Christmas music playing in the unit. The New York City medical examiner said the 60-year-old accidentally shot himself in the left armpit, damaging the brachial artery. Sports now. Squash, the 2026 Cincinnati Gaynor Cup. National player Rachel Arnold stormed into the quarterfinals after brushing aside Mena Hamed in ruthless fashion on Thursday. The world number 24, who received a first-round bye, needed just 22 minutes to dispatch the world number 53 Egyptian, 11-3, 11-7, 11-4, in a dominant display. The 29-year-old now faces a much tougher challenge against England's world number 9, Georgina Kennedy, for a place in the semi-finals. Rachel has lost both of her previous encounters with Kennedy and will be aiming for her first win against the top seed. And that concludes Nightline this time around. We leave you with a look at mosques in Pakistani cities, Karachi and Lahore, as they provide free iftar meals for the poor to break their fast during Ramadan. With that, I'm Hassanel. Thank you for watching and Selamat Bersahur.